60 to 70 primary knees are Varus candidates. So Dr. Rakesh has already explained about the kinematic and functional alignment. So the problem is why mechanical alignment is not enough, because as we know that 10 to 20% people remain unsatisfied after the TKA. So whether we can correct this problem, and as we know that constitutional varus is normal in native knees, and neutral alignment does not guarantee a patient satisfaction. So there are mechanical alignment issues, kinematic alignment, and now it is the middle part, that is functional alignment. So advantages of mechanical alignment, as we all know that it is a gold standard, well studied, and it has a predictable implant positioning and long-term survivorship data. But as we say that 10 to 20% patients are still not very happy. So kinematic alignment, it restores the pre-arthritic anatomy, and less soft tissue releases are required, and improved kinematics are reported. But there is a risk of implant loosening in severe deformities. It does not restore any trochlear anatomy as such, and may need specially designed implants for that. So it comes to the functional alignment. It restores the native kinematics, balances the gaps with minimum release, and for this you may require a robotic, because you are correcting 2 to 3 degrees of varus, and that much is acceptable. At our place we are using fully automatic robot, which is CT based, and for that we do the radiographic assessment, standing X-rays and CT scan. With CT scan, software is used, the J-Planner software is used, and femoral and tibial registration sites recorded and are visualized as per this diagram here. So we take the femoral head center, then knee center, ankle center, and all these points are taken preoperatively, and preoperatively on CT based software we are planning everything before surgery. So at least a surgery is done before surgery in your mind. So the anatomical landmark are mapped using the multiplanar mapping, then transepicondylar axis, posterior twist angle, and center of ankle are marked, and implant planning is done. In functional alignment, as we know that we try to restore the pre-arthritic alignment, and balance of the flexion extension gap is most important, and functional alignment has come into vogue because of to reduce the reduce the soft tissue release, and robotic precision is useful here. So this is the typical plan we can see, that is a gap check after the registrations are done. Then this is intraoperative gap check. We try to keep at least lateral side in proper balance, that means flexion extension in lateral side is equal. Medial side you can either release or you can do the functional alignment within 3 degrees of varus. So the step 1 is medial parapatellar approach. Then this is a DMIO leg positioner. Joint is exposed, navigation pins and reflective arrays are inserted, and bony landmarks are registered for femur as well as tibia. And in second step, gap checks are done. And after the gap check, or before the gap check, after the registration, the osteophytes are removed first. And then after the osteophytes are removed, we try to do the gap measurements. And if it is a severe deformity, I would go for a lateral balance, and medially I can release it afterwards. So native alignment tension and mediolateral gaps are assessed with gentle varus and valgus stress. Assessment of the knee extension and in 90-degree of flexion is done, and real-time motion assessment from full extension to full flexion is recorded. And then the step 3 is to target the maximum gap of about 10 mm That means you can put a 9 mm poly with varus valgus trace. Robot displays the distance between the tibia and femoral surfaces according to component thickness. Overall alignment, HK axis, is maintained within maximum 5 degrees of limb varus, and joint line obliquity is maintained throughout the adjustments. So this is the scenarios, different scenarios which we can come across during intraoperatively: excess gap in both flexion, decreased gap in both flexion and extension, and you can adjust accordingly. As far as varus is concerned, then if there is tight medial gap in flexion and extension, that means you can correct the tibia, and you can put a tibia in 2 to 3 degrees at the most into the varus. I don't go more than 2 to 3 degrees of varus. If extension is balanced but it is tight in medial flexion, then you can consider the rotation, external rotation. But again, you have to be very careful here, because sometimes the lateral cortex can notch, so you have to take care of that. And if the joint is balanced in flexion and tight with medial gap extension, then maximum 2 to 3 degrees of femoral varus can be given here. So once these bony cutting adjustments are done, and then we can go for soft tissue releases afterwards. That means you can cut the deep MCL first, then POL, then medial reduction osteotomy, then semimembranous release, and lastly, if required, you can go for pie crusting of the superficial MCL. So for my strategy is, if the varus is less than 10, then osteophyte removal and deep MCL release usually is sufficient. In moderate cases, then adjustment of bone cuts up to 3 degrees of varus, and if necessary, then go for a extensive release like semimembranous or pace. And in severe fixed deformities, after bony adjustments, MCL release, pie crusting, everything is done, and assess if still there is LCL competence, incompetency, then we can think of a constrained implant. For example, this is a mild varus. You can correct without any varus or varus adjustments here. And in moderate cases, you can give 2 to 3 degrees of varus at the most, and then release the soft tissue. And in these type of cases where there is a extensive bone defect, then you may have to do proper medial releases with 2 to 3 degree of varus. So the complications and pitfalls to avoid in any surgery is to over release. That means avoid the valgus instability, or under release, because with the under release you can have persistent medial pain and accelerated polythene wear. Lateral cortical notching should be avoided. Pin site complications should be avoided, like infection or fractures, and technology over reliance should not be the issue. You should verify the robotic data with manual exam, and surgeon's judgment is most important. So to conclude, varus needs require systematic approach, thorough planning, precise execution and verification is necessary. Robotic assistant provides real-time feedback to optimize the soft tissue balances. Hybrid technique like measured resection plus gap verification reduces the alignment outliers. Sequential medial releases achieves balance with preserving of the soft tissue competence. Evidence supports improved alignment accuracy and patient's outcomes. Technology augments but does not replaces the fundamental surgical principles and judgment. So these are my references. I thank you for calling me here. Shubhang.